father was a coal miner and belonged to the union, the UMW. And he died with black lung. I can remember sitting around, you know, when we were younger, and him talking about being on picket lines and organized. And I mean, that was mostly what we talked about, sitting around the table after supper and all. Most of our conversation was his union, you know, when he was organizing for the union, and things that happened on the picket line and things that the company did to you. And so I began to hate the company, you know. I mean, that seemed like I just always did. I knew they were in me, you know. And then when I watched him die and suffer like he did with that black lung disease, I knew that something could be done about it. And I told myself then, if I ever get the opportunity to get those coal operators, I will. Because I thought, you know, it was the enemy. And so when this strike came up, I saw the opportunity and I jumped right in there.
Members of the Writers Guild of America have voted overwhelmingly to support a strike if contract talks with Hollywood studios break down. More than 97% of the members
Hollywood
who
was
cast
already
ballots
in the grip
supported the
of a strike by its writers
the
tonight.
Alliance of Motion
It spread
Picture
to the
Television
actors.
Producers
May sue
which represents the studios, issued a statement before the strikers were announced.
We're taking a live look outside in downtown LA, where hotel workers with a 9-year-old union now officially issued strike. Chefs held tonight in another location.
I get a feeling there's going to be a riot.
Howdy, I'm Thomas, and I'm here to talk to you today about... What am I here to talk to them today about? Hi, I'm Tommy, and I'm an actor, and I've recently lost my job, so I have nothing to do. I made this documentary instead. Right. And, fuck. Let's do this again. Hi, my name's Tommy, and this is the 17th fucking time that I've done this. But I'm an actor, and I don't have a job now, which is great because we're on strike, trying to get better wages. Still, I don't have a job now, and that kind of sucks. So, I've made this video instead of just kicking it around my house all day, which is technically still kicking it around my house all day. Never mind that, but still, I made this video, and I went and asked people questions about why we're on strike, and what we're doing, and as well as going to the Amazon, the UPS, and the other strikes that are going on around here in Los Angeles. Because it's not just actors that aren't getting paid fairly, it's everybody that's not getting paid fairly here. Here in Los Angeles, we don't really make a living wage to, you know, exist here, and it kind of sucks. So now everybody's at a point where we've had to give up our jobs in order to give ourselves better work conditions, but now we have to wait for those work conditions, because we're not going to get them until they accept our contracts, you know? And in order for them to accept our contracts, we have to starve these companies out of their resources and their employees. So us as employees get together as unions. And what unions do is they collaborate and they essentially create better work conditions for employees that work at certain companies. I myself don't know the definition offhand, but I'm just going to tell you what I know. And what I do know is that when being in a union, you're able to get stuff such as health benefits, you're able to get stuff such as a living wage, you're able to get higher pay rates, you are able to get... I should probably Google this. Alexa, what do you get when you're part of a union?
From workplacefairness.org. When working people collectively bargain for wages, benefits and employment procedures, as union members they have higher wages, more benefits and more stable employment as a result of the bargaining agreement.
Higher wages, better benefits, and stable employment. But right now our employment's not that stable. Why? Because the AMFPTP... Is that how you say it? Wait. Alexa, what is the AMFTP?
From acronyms.slang.com. AMP stands for Associate Marriage and Family Therapy.
That's not it. Alexa, what is the Association of Motion Pictures and Television Producers?
The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers is a trade association based in Sherman Oaks.
Alexa, be quiet, please. Thank you. It is the AMFPTP. And the AMFPTP doesn't really want to pay us fairly for the work that we do as writers and as actors and as everything else we do on set, such as crew jobs. And right now, everybody's on strike because we want to eat. Is that a good way to put it? Yeah, I'm hungry. I want to eat. So we're on strike. And today, I'm going to show you what I have talked about. Now, today I'm going to show you what I have went out and saw at these strikes. So, here we go. This is slightly younger Tommy. He's walking down the street to go find himself his first... Well, I guess this really isn't his first strike. But he's going to find a strike. And now, right now, he is at Warner Brothers. And fuck me, I'm not good at voiceovers. And what he wanted to do was go around and ask some questions to people that knew what was going on. Because honestly, I didn't know what was going on. At all. So I went to Paramount, Warner Brothers, and other places around Los Angeles in order to get some answers. And also to see this picture of PlayStation Orlando Bloom. Because why not? With that out of the way, we went to Warner Brothers and asked the first few questions. I wonder what that guy was eating. Bet it was good. And before I started just talking about the strike today, let me check if my mic's working. Yes, my mic's working. So before I start talking about the strike today, what I first wanted to talk about was the person helping us lead these strikes and the one who helped us initiate it, which is our queen, Fran Drescher. Our story starts in 1993 with a young Miss Franny Fine. No, not that one. Just wait a second. Yeah,
hello,
that one.
I'm Fran Drescher. I'm checking in.
Her union organizing days didn't just start with SAG and being our president. It also started back in Russia. Here's a clip.
Exciting, huh? I bet this doesn't happen every day.
Oh, now we'll have to work late tonight. I'll miss my supper.
Well, at least you'll be able to rack in some good overtime, huh?
What is overtime?
You kidding me? Who's your union representative?
What is a union?
And people like Miss Drescher, our president, as well as Duncan Crabtree Ireland, have been making great strides in order to make sure that we as actors, writers, and other people have been getting paid equally. They can only do their jobs so far when studios aren't really giving them the information they need to do their jobs. So now we're getting paid the bare minimum from these studios who make multi-billions of dollars but can only pay about maybe $250,000 to $1 million to their employees. And it's not good. Like, we can't afford to eat. We can't afford to do the things that we need to do. We have to move. We can't really write for shows anymore because these shows really only want to pay us $500 per season at the most. And it's become like the Wild West. We really don't have space to do our job or grow anymore as people in this industry. And it's become difficult for all of us to just be here and be writers or actors. I myself had knew that the strike was going to happen because someone had told me, but I didn't know what was causing the strike to happen or really any information about it, And once the strike started and I tried looking stuff up on the internet and going out and talking to people, I realized that they didn't know much about it either. They just knew that we were on strike and that we need to go strike and get paid better. But why was my question. So I went out to the strike and I made sure to ask some good questions. And I asked the most important question to start off with. And that question is, what's your name? Also, why are you striking today?
Well, I'm Patricia Tallman.
I'm Debbie Pollock.
My name is Michael Fishman.
My name is Rick Overton. I'm an actor.
I'm Jeff Fisher. I'm an actor.
Reno Romano, actor.
My name is Mark Feiner. I'm a IATSE Local 44 property crafts person, technical title.
And we're actors. We're both actors. We joined SAG. I joined SAG in 1980 on a little movie called Night Riders, where George Romero was the director of that.
And I joined SAG in 1983 in a little movie called 16 Candles.
I'm an actor, but I'm also a director and a writer. And the truth is, I'm striking for a lot of reasons. The first one is the majority of people in our union can't afford to live. And the money that most people make is not enough to even qualify for insurance.
We're next. Our union's in the gate,
Just right around the
waiting to start the rodeo. And so we should all be there for each other. It's under a certain set of perspectives and circumstances. This is one union situation.
And we're striking today for fair pay, for residuals, for better streaming, for self-tape auditions. We've been working under a contract that's been outdated for many, many years. Nobody can make a living anymore. We've been fortunate to be able to been working for the last 30 years as actors, but I look at it today in the last few years with shows and streaming and 8 episodes instead of 22 and how hard it is to make your health insurance, and that's why I'm out here. I think that's why a lot of us are out here.
Absolutely. Yep, and AI protections and all the other protections that the union affords us. We're proud union members, who always have been. We only work union, and we're looking for a fair deal, that's all.
I typically work as a buyer for the set deck department. I'm striking because this is something we have to do. Our contract negotiations last go around for IATSE, I think there was a lot of unhappy people. I personally was fine with the contract, but I think what SAG and WGA are being asked to settle for is completely unacceptable, and there's no illusions whatsoever about the producers. And these are not the producers that actually sit and create and produce content. These are corporate behemoth tech conglomerates that want to break our backs, crush labor, have us starving to death in the gutter, and literally do not care about us and want us dead. And this is do or die.
This guy presents me a good question. One I've been thinking about for a while now. And that question is, who is the AMPTP? Also, where the hell my damn money at? So, the AMFTP... The AMTP... The APMT... The AMT...
Safety goggles next time.
You know what I mean. The asshole motherfucking people that pay us. These assholes that pay us are essentially a group of producers and studios that think that we have been paid too much for too long. And now they're deciding that we need to come up with different negotiations in order to combat the cost of inflation. Sorry, there was some shit in my throat. I actually meant let us starve. Alright, Future Tommy here real quick. I just wanted to make a quick note. Did you notice how all the CEOs I just presented are women? Go equality. Okay, now back to the bad shit that they've done. Maybe understand what they do a bit better. Here's a quick note from them letting us know that they own us.
I find it hard to believe the host would miss a night like tonight.
To simplify it, the AMPTP controls everything that we watch, work on, and eat as far as television goes. Sadly though, in order to save themselves money, studios like Amazon, Netflix, and even the once-loved cable giant HBO have started putting their shows on layaway and began paying their writers less. On top of that, they don't even really show the statistics of the show past the first week of it airing. So writers and other people that work on the show don't even really know how well the show is doing. And whereas all these studios see an increase in toy sales, food sales, and everything that's related to their brand, we don't get paid anything, and honestly see a decrease in our benefits.
Getting a good job in a good workplace is something a lot of people want. But what makes a workplace good?
What is a union? Why do we need it? Well, what unions do is when people work in a certain job and don't really have the best conditions to work with, they group together and then they start to negotiate with the companies that they work for in order to get themselves better wages, better benefits, and other things that they couldn't get when they were working for them originally. Those groups are called unions. And what unions do is essentially just make life better for you in order to get yourself a living wage and just be able to live life to its fullest. And I know what I'm about to say sounds crazy because we're 20 minutes into this video and it's about unions and striking, but I myself am a non-union actor. Though I'm SAG eligible, I'm unable to join because we're not paid enough as actors in a non-union rate in order to get union dues paid. So people like me who want to join the union and get better benefits and get paid and do things that other people in the union do can't join because they don't pay union members or non-union members enough in order to live.
You know, I think a lot of people are confused about what's actually going on, and they have this perception that actors are all multimillionaires, when I personally am a journeyman actor, which means I work, but I can't achieve my health insurance because we haven't had a raise in, I don't know, forever. We haven't had a cost of living raise. And now with the streaming services, we used to get residuals when our work was sold to another market. Now because of streaming like Netflix, nobody knows how much money is being made, and they're not sharing it with any of the unions, any of the people who work on the movies. So we no longer have that additional income to help us make our health and pension.
All right, my name's Charlie. I'm an indie game developer, and as someone who loves like stories, like it makes sense to be in solidarity with the WGA. What the WGA is asking for is a good thing. Like it makes sense, right? Like we want a living wage for the writers, and I believe that like writing should be a career, right? It's a fun thing to do, and it's also hard, right? It's not like a quote unquote fake job that people should get. You know, people should find quote unquote a real job, right? Like it's a definite career that requires a lot of years to get good at. And I believe even if you're a writer outside of the film and TV industry, like elevating writers here will also like increase the value of work for writers outside of film and TV. And so it's like a high tide raises all the boats kind of thing, which is why I'm here.
All right. My name is Nick Adams. I'm a writer, and I'm striking to help my friends, really. That's what it is. It's just to help the people that I care about.
My name is Wanda Sykes. I'm WGA East, and I'm out here on the West right now, and I'm striking for the survival of our profession.
Hello, I'm Sienna. I am a showrunner's assistant, and I'm striking for the future of the Writers Guild, which is me and all of my friends that I have, and for the other future generations.
Hello, I'm Lavette McLeod. I do script coordinating, and I'm also out here striking, you know, for the future writers and for the writers now to get the money that they deserve.
It's not fair, so it's unethical for them not to share the analytics. I mean, you know, for the upper level level writers, whatever, we get points, but if you don't know what those points are based on, you just got to take them at their word. And how can you take them at their word when they've already put us in this position? And like I said, it's for the survival of our profession. I mean, right now with these small rooms and limited writers, where the younger writers are going to come from? It's like we're getting older, but where's the next generation of writers going to come from?
I think it's also too important to discuss that they can't make these movies without actors. And just like any other, and writers, thank you, and writers. And it is so important that we're treated fairly like any other working union. Is that
labor unions.
Labor unions need to get cost of living raises. We need to be cut in on some of these deals that these streaming services are making. So it's really important that everybody shows up and we all strike together.
I am Rob Benedict. I am an actor, and I'm striking because I support the unions, and I think this is a really important strike. It's going to lay the groundwork for what I do and what my fellow actors do, artists do for a long time to come. Technology has changed so much, and we just are asking for the studios to shift along with the technology and just shift with the times. And it's a really, really old contract, and we just want it upgraded.
Howdy. Remember how I said this wasn't just about SAG and the WGA? Well, I went down to see the local 11 to see how their strikes were doing. Because just like us, they're also struggling to make ends meet. And while they're making nothing, these hotel chains make each employee's year's salary plus more per hour. So I felt like it was time that they voiced their opinion so we can understand what's going on, not as individual unions, but as a bunch of people trying to live as citizens in the United States.
My name is Jonathan, and I work for the JW Marriott. JW Marriott in the Intercontinental Hotel here in downtown LA as a banquet server. The reason why I'm striking is, these corporations are acting like they don't have money. But since we've come back from the pandemic, the corporations have really actually gotten even more money. They've put more tourism tax on the rooms. They put amenity taxes on the rooms. They put additional sales tax onto the rooms. This is all money that's going into the company's pocket, but they're not sharing it with the employees. And a lot of people don't understand that a room used to be maybe $200 $250 a night, but with all the additional add-ons that the rooms that the company is getting, they're getting a ton more money for each of these rooms, and none of that money is going into the pockets of the employees.
My name's Carlos Arzate. I work here at the JW Marriott. I'm a housekeeping aide. We're fighting for fair wages. This company makes a lot of money. They charge a lot of money to stay here. They're giving agency workers the exact amount that we're asking for. So if they can pay agency workers $30 an hour, they can pay us $30 an hour. I think it's just fair. Other than that, I mean, we pay for parking. We don't get nothing free other than the food that they give us, but to be completely honest, it's not that great. But other than that, we're just fighting for fair wages. We're trying to make a living right here in California is really difficult, especially in Los Angeles.
My name is Belen Valle, and I'm working at JW Marriott downtown LA. And I'm striking because we're fighting for our pension, our health insurance, and our raise, because we need a raise. Everything is expensive in Los Angeles, and we need a raise. We deserve that. We are hard workers, so that's why we are in a strike, and we support all the strikers, I know it's very hard, but we are positive, and we are going to win, because if we fight, we're gonna win together like a family. We are the union, because we are the stronger, the mighty, mighty workers.
My name is Nick Gerber. I'm an organizer with Unite Here Local 11, and we're out here on strike. This is at the JW Marriott, but all of our hotels across Los Angeles, because, for example, this company, the CEO of Marriott, makes more than $9,000 an hour. and this company has not agreed to pay us not even $30 per hour. And like we were just talking about, you need to make almost $40 just to be able to live in Los Angeles. And we absolutely deserve to live here because we're the ones that make any of this possible and make the city attractive for anyone to come. And we absolutely deserve to live here. I worked as a restaurant employee at another Marriott for a few years, about 10 years ago. And so that's why I'm here.
And basically,
see your camera, goddammit.
I run it back. All right, my name is Tyler Edelberg. I work for the JW Marriott as a laundry attendant, and we're fighting for better wages and basically trying to fight against corporate greed. Really, it's pretty much like he said. Like the company makes a lot of money. You know, we take high-profile guests on a regular basis, and they make it seem like a $10 increase in wages is going to hurt their pockets when really I don't think it's going to make a dent for them. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. I was told that she's here. Could I see her, please?
No. Remember when you were younger and your grandparents would chastise you for being on your phone? They'd always say, "Stop! That fucking damn phone brick's gonna control your life!" And you thought to yourself, "Stupid grandpa, I'm perfectly fine." Well, guess what? He was right. And I'm not saying I told you so, but it seems that these stupid cell phones and the AI have finally taken our jobs. How do you ask? Well, it's gotten to the point where artificial intelligence can almost mimic human emotion. Though it can't do it to 100%, it tries and it almost succeeds. But the sad part about that is that the human emotion will never really be emulated by anybody that's not human, you know? So when they try to make our movies and TV shows for us, it's just going to feel kind of off.
If I'm really being honest, is I'm also striking for all the people who are out there. Because this battle for AI, this battle for owning your likeness, that's not just for actors. At this moment, that's who you see the face of it. But it's for everybody. It's all your social media posts. It's the fact that your face could be used for something else, your voice, your likeness. Who owns your essence as a human being? And we as human beings, we have a greater stake and a greater role in this world than just to be a piece of advertising for somebody else, right? We're supposed to be sharing our heart.
Well, I'm particularly sensitive to it. As a voiceover actor, that's the bulk of what I do. I've been one of the voices of NBC for over a decade, the CW for almost 30 years. So it's a real threat. It's genuine, it's real, it's here, and it's wonderful technology. They should just regulate it, put in some protections, and that's all we're asking for, is for them to give us a fair shake of them using our likeness or our sound likeness in fair and equitable ways, and either compensate us or don't abuse the technology, and put some protections and guardrails in place. And of course, for extras, prop masters, everybody, actors, deepfake has been around for a while. Now all of a sudden it's audio and AI and generative technologies. They're really frightening. Again, they're wonderful, they're welcome. We just want protections, and we want to be considered, and we want to keep doing what we've always done, be creative, and add to the fun in the world.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I believe in everything you just said. I mean, AI is a real threat, and unfortunately it is here to stay, but we need some regulations now. We can't wait until the future. I mean, now's the time we have to get this straight. You know, I'm also in an animated show. I don't want them to be able to use my likeness and my voice and digitize it and recreate it, which they're able to do now. And, you know, so it's a real threat to above and below the line. So, yeah, I think it's a crucial time to be able to make a decision and get some rules set up.
The bottom line is this is important. What we're asking for is rational, it's fair, and we just want them back at the table and to come up with something equitable for everybody.
These companies are making billions, and it would be very little for them to get it over tomorrow.
By the way, as they should, we're glad they're making money. We want them to keep making money. We just want to participate in a fair and equitable fashion, and we want to be reasonable, but we do want to come to the table to discuss it. We don't want to just be told to go away, you know, get a pat on the head and be sent off, because the bottom line is a lot of this, all this content, not a lot of it, all of this content that they're monetizing and making all this money off of, is created by all these people you see here walking. The writers, the directors, they got a deal, but the directors, the actors, the writers, we make the stuff that they're selling. And again, we're elated that they're selling it and distributing it. We want that to keep happening. We want them to make tons of money, but we want to participate in a fair and equitable fashion. That's all we're asking for.
Hi, again. I just wanted to take the time to let my sponsor show their video in this film. Their name is the AMPTP Cares, and they just wanted to make sure that you know that the AMPTP cares. So, thank you.
With the WGA writer's strike continuing into its 7th week, we understand some of our members are growing anxious. You may be asking yourself, how long will this go? Are the writers' demands really so outrageous? How do I keep up with the mortgage on my Vermont summer home? We've provided some helpful tips for busy executives like you to get through this troubling time, because the AMPTP cares. Tip number 1, stock up. Writers can't function without an adequate supply of LaCroix, so send your assistant to the nearest Vons and buy out their entire selection. Remember, a dehydrated writer is a sedentary writer, and sedentary writers can't pick it. Tip number 2, tell your friends. As the content pipeline begins to dry up, studios like yours face a drop in subscriptions. Tell your friends to stop sharing passwords. The more moms, dads, aunts, uncles, and grandparents are forced to buy their own subscriptions, the more revenue makes its way into the studio and your retirement package. Tip number 3, supplement your income. As the industry compartmentalizes into gig-powered projects, it's only a matter of time before producers and executives suffer the same fate. While the Ouroboros, the studio system created, faces its own day of reckoning. Prepare to supplement your income with freelance work from Craigslist and Fiverr. Remember, we're all in this together, except for the writers who actually make the product. Thanks for watching.
Why do we need to address and change these issues? Well, to give us a clear example of what's going on, I want to go back to a game that we all know and love, and that game is Monopoly. In Monopoly, your goal is to become the best businessman, or woman, remember that you can be while monopolizing the trade economy and forcing your competitors into bankruptcy. Starting to sound familiar yet? Just wait. Essentially, once your opponents can't feed themselves, you win. Now, think of the AMPTP as the tiny mustache man on the box. And now, think of our jobs as the red and green houses that they buy in order to keep their properties worth something. This is because the AMPTP has essentially monopolized our trade, not only in the aspect of writing and acting, but also in the extent of it affecting people in construction, food, and other businesses that rely on the contracts they receive from movies. Not only that, these companies represented by the AMPTP control everything that we watch, eat, merchandise we buy, and even large outlets of the internet. Yet, we as employees have been stripped of our ranks as players and have been relegated to these little red and green houses. This is where the unions step in. Unions take a bunch of these little houses and become a player on the board, taking ownership over small avenues, i.e. jobs, in order to stop the winning player. The first way we as a union can begin the stalling process is by striking.
Krusty Krab is unfair! Mr. Krabs is in there! Standing at the concession! Plotting his oppression!
And a vote to strike is made when enough people within a union gather and say that they haven't been paid fairly enough, and that changes need to be made.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa! That's too damn bad!
From there, negotiations start, and when negotiations take place, this is the perfect moment for all members of the union to place their concerns with the union president and make a contract that benefits all parties for years to come. And when a contract deal is made, everyone gets to go back to work.
Oh no, my young Jedi. You will find that it is you who are mistaken about a great many things.
But it's really just not that simple. You see, a monopoly being a monopoly, and well, old men just being old, they want to keep the money that they're getting because they've come to realize the previous contracts that all these unions have made, they can't keep up with recent technological advances and rise of inflation. In a sense, they're leaving us in a stranglehold until we eventually succumb to their wants. But hopefully, if we as a union can stick it out and support each other long enough, we can get out of this stranglehold and start officially starving them of their money and resources. Because when you think about it, an R34 GTR is cool, but if there's no engine in it, then ain't shit but a shell, isn't it? And if you don't get what I'm talking about right now, then that really sucks for you, because I don't have time to explain it. But you should watch the Fast and the Furious movies. Okay, maybe the first 3, not the last 7. We don't talk about the last 7. Simply put, they're just not going to be able to do anything without us.
My name is Mindley Jennings. I'm a traffic officer for the City of Los Angeles, and we're striking today because we want a fair contract, and the city won't negotiate with us. We want them to respect us because we love LA.
My name's Joey DeMore. My family and I own DeMore's Pizza. We have them in Malibu, Thousand Oaks, and Camarillo in the San Fernando Valley. And good customers of ours are from industry entertainment, and they have all these clients that are on strike, and they want to support them, and they thought it would be a great idea to get our catering truck out here and feed everybody free so they can keep up their strength with pizza power and keep picketing.
James, and I'm a writer, and I think when you look at the fact that the pay has dropped 25% across the board, you know that something's wrong. There's a lot of details to be worked out, but I think that's fundamental. Writers have to be able to make a living, and they have to be nurtured as writers within the room. They just can't be hired and just dumped, to float around to another gig.
At the end of the day, all we can do now is hope that our work out here creates a positive result in the end. But what it really comes to is just waiting. Waiting for the negotiations to start. Waiting for the companies to recognize the flaws in their system. And just waiting to go back to work. Hi, quick disclaimer going into this part that I'm about to talk about. If you're not very keen on topics such as suicide and depression, or you just don't want to listen to that, I would probably skip forward into a part that really doesn't have my face in it for the last part of this. But one thing we can do while this strike is happening is, hitting up our friends that we know and just seeing if they're okay. I will say myself, I've definitely fallen back into a place of, suicidal thoughts and thoughts of insecurity and mortality, especially now that I've lost my job and I can't do the thing that I originally set out to do. It makes you think about your purpose, but more importantly, it makes you realize that your friends around you are probably also going through the same thing, and it is tough going through this alone. So it's just good to tell the people that you love and that you work with, hey, you're not alone. I'm here. We're all going through this. What's up? So definitely take the time to talk to your peers and just see if they're okay. Hi, I didn't want to just end the video on a depressing note like that, so I'm going to say something before I go real quick. But I also wanted to say to you guys that I appreciate everyone who was a part of this documentary, all the information and sources that I used. I appreciate you guys, as well as just anybody who's striking right now. I appreciate the fact that everyone is out making sure that we here as Los Angeles and New Yorkers and other people who are striking everywhere else, making sure that we get fair rates, being able to live, and possibly when we have kids in the future that they'll be able to get a fair rate too. So thank you, everyone, and I appreciate you watching this video. It took a minute to make this, so I'm just glad that people are taking the time to watch it, if you are. So thank you, and again, have a good day.
Let's get it. Come on, watch that.
Hi, I'm Nathan Smith. I'm a set decoration buyer for Local 44, IATSE Local 44. And I'm striking today because
We don't get paid fairly.
Matt Corboy. I make a living as an actor, and I'm striking today for a number of things. To take AI and computers basically plagiarizing our likeness and our image and using them in perpetuity off the table.
My name is Dylan Mooney, and I am a proud SAG-AFTRA member and actor. I am so proud to be an actor.